I have 2 words for you to help overcome an anxiety or fear in your life. But God. Most people in life deal with anxiety. We live in a world full of chaos and trouble. In fact, Jesus even promised that we would have trouble in this world, but to fear not, for he has overcome the world. But still, there are things that happen in our lives that cause insecurities and make us feel powerless and out of control with life. Anxiety is, a threat to our well-being. It's the truth about anxiety is actually it's an imagination in our minds of a future without God. A lot of people actually mistake anxiety and fear. They're not the same. They're similar, but not exactly the same. Fear actually sees something that's a threat to get away from. That's actually a healthy thing. God gave us an instinct that causes us to fight or flight. And so that kind of fear is actually normal. Anxiety is actually pondering the what if. It's not actually seeing the threat, it's imagining up the threat in your mind. And fear is something that can be used in survival, as I said, but anxiety only causes harm to our minds and our bodies and our health. So what about these 2 words, but God? Why are they so important? I like to apply them in situations that I'm feeling anxious about or when fear creeps in. These words, but God, can be put in to practice. It could look like this. There's all kinds of chaos in the world, right? You turn on the channel and you can just have so much anxiety over everything. The bombs are coming. Children are being killed. There's so much chaos that just makes you ill and makes you want to go hide in a corner. It's crazy. We do live in this chaotic world that's out of control. But God is still sovereign in it all. His answer in troubled times are always the same. It's always the same. Heaven has an occupied throne. That should give you peace, knowing that there is a throne in heaven and God occupies it. He's sovereign in all of it and he works everything out together for good. Whether we see it or not, whether we believe it or not, God is still there. Another thing can be like, oh gosh, I'm over my head with this situation. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this debt, how I'm going to get out of this bad friendship, this bad influence, this temptation, this sin that's consuming my life. But God will always provide for my needs. God will always help me find a way out. All I have to do is seek him, and he's there. He will always provide for my needs, not always my wants, but my needs. Another way to apply but God is when you feel like all kinds of regret from your past or things that you used to do before you had Christ in your life. That can cause a lot of anxiety, just knowing who you were at one time. I've even experienced that myself in situations where old narratives in my head want to just drag me down and stir up all kinds of anxiety about who I am as a person, having doubt that I'm even lovable by God. And God doesn't want us to live there. So, am I worthy of God's love? Yes. Have I done things in the past that are shameful? Absolutely. But God has already finished the work on the cross. I am loved and I am saved by grace, not by my own works. I can't earn the gift of God's love, but God gives it to me anyway. I am forgiven and I'm free. Another thing too is maybe being afraid to go into a conversation with somebody. Maybe you're in a relationship that has conflict and you have to approach that person. Could be a friendship, could be a marriage, it could be a work relationship, it could be a family relationship that you have a conflict with and you have anxiety going into that. How am I going to handle this? How am I going to go into that situation where this person is going to be there and I have to face them? I have to embrace that conflict and I have to figure out how to deal with it. So I might have that conflict, but God is going before me. He's already gone there to work in the future and hem in behind me, and he will give me the strength to deal with it and to see it through and to be able to be Christ-like in that situation and bring glory in all things. So how do we look to Scripture to apply this principle into your life, your day-to-day life? I found a scripture that I really want to leave you with, and it's Jeremiah 17:8. It says, "They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. So we as Christ followers are like those trees planted by living water. Christ is our living water, and we root ourselves into his truth and his word. And if we are like that, we don't fear. We don't live in fear because we know that he will sustain us and that he will go before us and hem in behind us. There's no reason to fear or have anxiety because God is in control. He is sovereign. He is graceful. His love is enough, and he will never leave you or forsake you. That's what he promises. And so I hope that you're encouraged by this, and I hope that you know that you have no reason to fear if Jesus is your Lord. So I hope that you choose him if you haven't already, because he loves you more than you'll ever know. God bless you.